So before I get into my actual hero character, the show this hero would be part of is called First, Second, Third, which follows the lives of understaffed, underappreciated, and criminally underpaid Springfield elementary school teachers who are trying to feed the minds of their young pupils and hopefully keep the lights on. One of the main reasons I'd like a show like this is because teaching has been one of my family's main occupations. My great-grandmother, my grandfather, my grandmother, and my mother all became teachers, and my sister is even going to school for elementary education next year. I've grown up hearing lots of stories about difficult students and annoying faculty meetings, so I feel like it's a landscape that I'm comfortable and familiar with. A lot of the time, I feel like most of the stories about school in general come down to the kids, and that's understandable, but often teachers in these stories are written pretty one-dimensional. With First, Second, Third, I would hope to create a show that handles the struggles teachers face on a daily basis, not just because of the kids they work with, but because of the U.S.'s crumbling faith in public education. I would like to cover how creative freedom in the classroom is pushed to the side in an effort to prepare kids for standardized testing, which doesn't accurately judge the majority of kids' intelligence. A lot of shows make the point that teachers don't care about the kids they teach, and it's such a cynical view it's disheartening to see over and over again. The real issue is that teachers aren't given the correct resources to not feel exhausted and overextended. I would just hope to highlight some of those issues with this show. The hero I'm focusing on today is elementary school teacher Julia Jimenez. She's the newest teacher at Springfield Elementary School, and she's never worked in a public school before. She deals with issues like raising money for a free lunch program, trying to stock her room with necessary supplies that the school isn't able to provide, and making sure the kids are having fun while learning. In her way are the PTA, school bureaucracy, and the dreaded parent-teacher night. The cast is her fellow faculty, the harried principal, the teachers who love their jobs, the teachers who are just trying to make it to their next paycheck, and the teachers who would retire if they weren't, teachers. Julia is a young teacher, and she has a lot of energy and positivity to put into her work. And like I put in her little about page, her teaching inspiration is the most bubbly teacher imaginable, Miss Frizzle. She could be considered the Leslie Knope or Jonah Sims of First, Second, Third. Annoyingly optimistic, but just wanting to see the world turn into a more accepting and caring place. I think Julia as a character would be able to see the discrepancies between the privately funded schools of America and public government-funded schools. And her job as the hero is to sort of invigorate the rest of the faculty and families of Springfield Elementary into seeing that there is work to be done to our school systems. And even if that help needs to come from the top, she's willing to go there. So the pilot would find Julia adjusting to the public school system, and I've written a little synopsis for it here. It's Julia's first week at Springfield Elementary, and adjusting from her previous position at Activity Academy is a lot harder than she would have imagined. Between a principal who can't keep his filing system straight, a staff lounge full of disheartened teachers, and severe underfunding in the classrooms, it seems like there's more problems than one teacher can possibly fix. Julia can only hope she'll find some allies along the way. So my idea for this episode would really be to bring in Julia's background working at a Montessori school. I kind of wanted to play around with the concept of bringing a non-public school teacher into a public school setting because from 1st to 8th grade, I attended charter schools myself. They are a lot different than public schools. I mean, one of the bigger differences is that I wasn't graded on anything. All of our work was based on completion. There's a lot less pressure on kids to be perfect academically, and they're instead given the chance to grasp a concept in their own time. I think Julia coming into a space where even 3rd graders are being graded on stuff would be kind of a shock to her system. Of course, there's also plenty of comedic potential in her charter school past, as those schools are often known for their loose procedural stuff, since they're not government-funded and therefore not government-run. The pilot is just the beginning of Julia's problems, but it would highlight the biggest issues faced by teachers in America today. I've seen lots of different types of heroes in class, but I think my favorite type is the hero that focuses on stuff that other people would find tedious and daunting. There's so much to fix it seems impossible to do, but I want Julia to see it all and still think maybe there's a chance. So, for another possible episode, I would have Julia learn about how school lunches aren't free, and I've written a little synopsis for it here. Julia discovers several of her students are going without lunch, all because they can't afford it. In an effort to help out, she starts coming up with ways to fundraise for better free school lunches, and ends up stepping on a lot of people's toes in the process. This is one of those issues that I felt I really wanted to address, just in terms of the absurdity of letting kids, and young kids at that, go without food during the day. I was lucky enough to have gone to a middle school where our food was provided without payment, so if we ever forgot our lunch, or our parents were too busy to get something ready, or we simply didn't have the money, it was never a problem. And I think this could also be a plot that could stretch out as a season arc, like something Julia really strives to fix over the course of a year at Springfield Elementary. In another possible episode, I would have Julia struggle with the often complicated relationship teachers have with their students' parents, and I've written a little synopsis for it here. It's parent-teacher night at Springfield Elementary, and Julia's coworkers are warning her of the problems certain parents might create, and what she can do to stay on their good side. I mostly just wanted an episode like this because I've heard plenty of complaints about overbearing parents, or parents who just don't understand the curriculum that well, and I think there's a lot of comedy potential for a character like Julia to deal with a group of people like this. I think the majority of parents are normal about their kids' education, especially in elementary school, but there are those that teachers definitely watch out for, so I think having a list that's passed around between teachers for those types of parents would be kind of funny. This one is less about the school system and more commentary on just how controlling certain types of parents can be about school. And since that isn't exactly something Julia can fix, it's played as something a lot less serious than the other issues. So that's it. This is just an alternate poster concept that I came up with for the show, but I hoped you liked my presentation. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I hope that you all have a good winter break.